Hello, everybody. Let me get my subtitles going. Activate those. Oh, got my two-factor authentication for Twitch. Let's see. It won't let me activate subtitles. Until I use their authenticator app. I forgot which one it was because I have a billion of them. There we go. There we go. Now I should be getting captions. Here we go. Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick stream because I haven't streamed in like 2 months and it's been forever. And I was watching this fun video the other day by M&J TV where he was going over his favorite Pokemon and he mentioned this website called Favorite Pokemon Picker. It's by Dragonfly Cave, the same guys who did the pretty famous uh, web article about how to get Tree Munchlax in Generation 4, the rarest Pokemon of all time. And they made this website. If you Google just like Dragonfly Cave favorites, it'll be like the first result. But basically, they give you these options and you can select whatever you want. I set it to be only regional variants and like major forms, and then from every generation. And then I just spent several hours going through picking my favorites out of a bunch of batches until I narrowed it down to 100. I gave myself certain rules, like for example, Entei's on here, but he represents like all the Johto dogs. So like Suicune, Raikou, and Entei are all represented by Entei, just to make it a little easier. But yeah, I thought it would be a fun topic for a stream if I could just go over why these guys are my favorites. And I'd have it not full screen so that I could be 10 rows of 10 because it just looks nicer. Because when it's not full screen, it's like, it's 11 by like 9 with one extra, and it's like, nobody wants that. Gotta have it looking nice. So, yeah, I guess I might as well start with the bottom. I just kept going until I had 100 choices. Some of the choices were really tough. Like, once it got down to like 200, it was pretty hard to make some of the choices. Uh, I've played every game in the main series up to this point, except for the original Gen 2 games. So I haven't played Gold, Silver, or Crystal, and I haven't played the Generation 7 games yet. So Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, or Ultra Moon. But and Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. But I played the original Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. So, and I played Pokemon Y. So I played Gen 6. So the only games in the series really that I haven't played are Sun and Moon and like the original Johto. But I played Soul Silver, so I played through Johto. So knowing that, it's kind of funny that there's a bunch of Generation 7 Pokemon on this list. Like, I don't even know how you say this. Nihilego. I just think it looks really cool. And it's a really weird type. It's like Poison Rock or something. I'm excited to play through Sun and Moon and find out what it is because I just thought it looked really cool. I like Jellicent too, is one of my top 200. The water ghost Pokemon. I really like Jellicent. I just think this one has a bit more interesting of a design. Jellicent probably has a better typing though, but I like poison types. Poison's one of my favorite types. Dark is my favorite though. And then I got Starmie. I just like in the older games for like the GameCube, animations for Starmie its back star spins out of sync with its front star, and I just always thought that was so cool. And in the anime, Star U has a really fun, like deep voice. So I like Starmie, and it's psychic type in Kanto, which is always really good. I'm planning on using one whenever I play through Let's Go Pikachu, because I played through Let's Go Eevee, but I haven't done Let's Go Pikachu yet. Cherim is solely on here because of its sun form. Is just it's so cute when Cherim's out in the sun and it gets its sun form. Not the best Pokemon. It's weird. It's so weird that its ability increases its speed, and it's like I think it increases its speed and like its physical attack or something like that. But it's like a special attacker or vice versa. So it's like kind of a useless ability, but I think its Sunny Day form is adorable, and that's the only reason it's on here. Most of the those types of Generation 4 Pokemon I don't like because they're like Honey Tree Pokemon, and I hate Honey Tree Pokemon. It's about how annoying they are to get. Uh, I should really reverse my camera so that when I'm looking at these, I'm not looking in the opposite direction of them. I'll do that later. Kingdra, I really like Seadra and Kingdra like evolving into a dragon type. I thought that was really cool as a kid. And I kind of hate Kingdra because of how annoying it is to battle in Generation 3 with what's his name? Wallace, I think is the champion's name, who uses a Kingdra, or it was like maybe it was in uh Pokemon Ruby where he is like the final Elite Four member or something. I remember it changed between games, but his Kingdra that like knows evasion and is basically has no weaknesses is so annoying to deal with because it's only weak to dragon types pretty much since it is water type too, but because it's dragon, it resists all the things that water is weak to. So it's like neutral damage. So the only thing you're gonna really hit it with is dragon type moves, but there's so few dragons up until Gen 3. And even in Gen 3, they only added really like what Salamence and what are the other Metagross was the other Latios and Latias, but they're impossible to get pretty much until like Oras. You got to beat the game to get them, right? So like yeah, annoying, but very cool Pokemon. I like the idea that it like shoots water out of its nostril so fast and hard that it's like deadly like a bullet. I just thought that was cool, and it's like scalding hot. Palisand is on here. I've never played the Generation 7 games, but Palisand's like Dex entry has always stuck out to me as being one of the coolest and creepiest ones where it's a ghost ground type where it just is a bunch of possessed grains of sand that are like horrifyingly haunted and evil, and they just form themselves into sand castles to lure unsuspecting people and Pokemon near them so they can eat them and like devour their souls for energy. Horrifying. And ground is one of my favorite types. One of the best attacking types in the game. I don't really like the Reggies that much, but Registeel is on here because I do really like the new Reggies they added in the DLC for the Crown Tundra. I haven't played the Crown Tundra yet. I've only played the Olive Armor, but I really like the new Reggies they added, and I think of all the Reggies, Registeel is the one that his design I like the best. So I just picked him for this list to represent all of them because I like his look the best. Um, the puzzles in Gen 3 were annoying to deal with. Not looking forward to having to solve those again. Then Hoot Hoot. I just I've always loved Hoot Hoot. Even as a kid when I would watch the anime, something about like his eyes are just and like the fact that he I mean, I always thought he only had one foot, but really he's got two and he's just like put one up into himself. But like I don't know, like the weird clockwork eyes and the one foot in the design is just so like amazing, and it always stood out to me as a kid. And he's so creepy, like a psychic owl, but I love him, like in the best way. I was always confused about how to get him as a kid because my first ever Pokemon game I played was Pokemon Red, and I didn't understand that there were more games in the sequels because I was only like, I don't know, 5 or so when I started playing Pokemon, maybe a little older. But I would watch the show and I'd see all these Pokemon from like Johto and Hoenn, and I didn't realize they were from other games. So I was like, why can't I find the cool Heracross Pokemon in my Pokemon Red game? But I did enjoy watching them. I mean, Sharpedo is just cool. Like, I love how fast it is in the Isle of Armor update they added with following Pokemon. Where I mean, I hate how slow it is when it is one of your following Pokemon, but when you're like in the water and they're swimming up to you, and they're going like a million miles an hour. That's so fun. And the fact that it's Dark type, my favorite type. I mean, come on, and it evolves from a Piranha plant like Pokemon or a Piranha fish Pokemon. I don't like Carvana's design all that much, but I do love Sharpedo. He just looks cool. He's a shark torpedo. He's a torpedo. How can you not love a shark torpedo Pokemon? Man, that's pretty much the theme with most of the Pokemon on here. Is like, oh, I just like the way they look. Like Darkrai. I mean, look at him. What else do I look at it? What else do I have to say to you? Is Darkrai? He's horrifying, but also very cool. Sfeel is very cute. If you're cute or cool looking, there's like a 90% chance you're on this list. I'm. It evolves into a very powerful Pokemon with ice moves. Like Walrein is very good in playthrough teams. If you can get one, very useful for fighting dragon types that come across every now and. Hey, Chris, I'm just explaining why I picked the Pokemon I did. How are you doing? I should really get some music. I'm scared to play music on Twitch though because of all the copyright stuff. I guess I could play Pokemon music. What's some good Pokemon music I could do? Hmm. Nintendo music's fine. Look at it. Maybe. What about something from like Coliseum? Nobody ever plays through Coliseum or XD, but they have good music. That's a little loud. It's so. There we go. How's that? Is that better? Can you hear that? Awesome, thanks. But yeah, Phalanx is one of the new ones they had in Sword and Shield. I love Phalanx. When I first saw it, I thought it was a new bug type Pokemon. It's on the only good route in that entire game, pretty much. Unless you get the DLC. There's some good routes in the DLC areas. It has amazing animations. I love the concept of like Spartan Pokemon fighting type, and they're like in a formation. You get a really cool signature move with awesome animation. 10 out of 10 Pokemon. One of the best new ones they added. We got Greninja, one of the most popular Pokemon of all time. There's been a few times they've had a vote where they voted Greninja the most popular Pokemon of all time in the world and in Japan. I mean, he's a cool ninja frog that's a dark type Pokemon. It has a special evolution, was very good in the show. Like, how can anyone not love Greninja? He's got a tongue scarf. I love the dumb design so much. And he's both dumb and cool at the same time. Two of my favorite types of designs in one. Obviously. And he's the best of the 3 starters in his region, like Kalos. Like, I thought Chespin was the cutest little starter ever, but then when I looked up what he fully evolved into and I saw how ugly he was, I was like, oh, well, that's disappointing. And Fennekin's pretty cute too, but then he just turns into a furry. It's like, what? But then you look at Froakie, I think, is the starter one, and he's like, I think the worst looking of the beginning stage, but he has the best evolution at the end by far. And we got Grapple Locked. I actually like Greninja. This is not really... I say it's in order, but it's not really in order. Like, I don't like Weavile all that much. Weavile's cool, but I don't like it more than, like, Greninja. It's just kind of arbitrarily how they were determined. Grapple Lock's very cool. Luchador, blue and yellow. Very good color combo. I love blue and yellow. I think they look very good together. Blue and black's pretty good too. His shiny's very good with the red. I love the idea of like a fighting water type. Has a lot of weaknesses that are bad, like Poliwrath is only okay, but he has some weaknesses that he's hard to use. I don't know, Grapple Locked has some interesting signature moves, and I love the animation of him in the overworld when he like swims after you. Turn this music down a little bit. I don't know if that... I'm not seeing the... whatever. Exploud is on here. Well, this is Loudred, but I love Exploud. I just think Loudred has a funnier design. I just love the idea of like a sound Pokemon, and he's just got a big dumb mouth with 4 teeth. He's just and when he like does his little animation where he goes back and forth on his legs, I just think it's very funny. He's actually pretty good. Like normal type is a very underrated type because it's not super effective against anything, but because of that, they kind of tend to overcompensate with the Pokemon. With their like moves and abilities and stuff, and I love the normal type designs because it's always like, well, I don't know, it doesn't fit anything else. It's like, I guess this is a normal type. It's just normal type. Exploud's a very good design too, but he looks mean, whereas Loudred looks goofy, so obviously I went with Loudred. Appleton is just hilarious. I mean, Grass Dragon is a cool typing, but look at him. He's an apple pie with a hat that covers his eyes and he has floppy ears. You know I'm going to have him on my top 100 list. Annoying to get, though. 0 out of 10 evolutionary method. Hated that. That was annoying. Only evolves if you get an item that is, like, version exclusive, and then he is holding it. Held item evolutions are always a pain in the ass. I mean, Aegislash... I mean, he's kind of like... You knew Aegislash was going to be on here. Like, you knew he was going to be here somewhere. Everybody has Aegislash in their top 100. He's just good. He's too good. He was broken when he was introduced. He's still a little broken. It's just a good Pokemon. Scrafty. I love Scrafty. He's very slow. His stats are not the best, but he's very good. Like... And his ability with Moxie, where he can like sweep if he gets a knockout, very good ability. If he was fast, he'd be one of the best Pokemon competitively. Great for Trick Room teams. I love Trick Room teams. Because all the Pokemon that are good tend to be slow. Chandelure is probably... one that not a lot of people would expect. It's more a controversial one because it's one of the object Pokemon from Gen 5 and people tend to dislike those. I just like Chandelure because I grew really close to it using... Because I made a monotype team for fighting people in Sword and Shield, and I put Chandelure on my fire type team, and I just grew really close to it because it was a really good special sweeper. Very good for dealing with like Mimikyu, because you can get an Infiltrator Chandelure and just like break through. I think it's Infiltrator that like breaks through this guy. I don't remember. It's been so long, but you can get one that like is pretty good with dealing with Pokemon like Dragapult or Mimikyu. Well, maybe not Dragapult because Dragapult's faster, but if you could predict when it was gonna be like using Phantom Force or something, you could do with Dragapult. I mean, Arceus, I was kind of going back and forth whether or not to use Arceus or Dialga for this spot. I really like Dialga's design a lot. I think Dialga has one of the strongest designs of the legendaries from Gen 4. But I mean, it's Arceus. He's the god of Pokemon. At one point when I was actually going through and choosing these, they were getting down to like the 2 options. It pitted up Bidoof against Dialga, and I just thought that was the funniest thing. It was like, do I pick between the god of time or the god of gods, Bidoof. But I went with Arceus to just sort of represent the Gen 4 legendaries. I mean, it's Arceus. He's here for the lore, and he's also very cool. I mean, I guess he's a mythical, not a legendary, but still. And I kind of dislike Pokemon where their gimmick is they get like a billion different forms because it makes it a pain because I like to complete the national dex and have a living dex. And so Pokemon with a bunch of forms can be kind of annoying for that. But Arceus, the fact that it like changes his typing too is really cool. I really like that sort of gimmick. Gimmick Pokemon are usually pretty high on my list. Hippowdon is here because it's a cool Pokemon. I like hippos. They're very deadly, very cool. Female Hippowdon, very good design. I love female Hippowdon's color scheme with the red and black. It's ground type, which is pretty good. It's good for like Sandstorm teams and Trick Room teams. Planning on using one when I get to Generation 6 because I've been trying to play through all the generations in order. I'm on Gen 5 right now, but eventually I'll be in Gen 6 and I'll be able to do double battles online. I want to use a Hippowdon on a Sandstorm team. Or a Trick Room team for double battles because I think it would be pretty good. Because you could use something like a Mega Garchomp or something. Well, maybe not Garchomp because he's too fast. But maybe Mega Scizor would be good for a Sandstorm team with Trick Room. And I've been dating Hippo. That may have affected the decision a little bit, just a little bit. We got Snom on here, obviously. I mean, look at him. Look at Snom. Look at this. Look at him. Look at this and tell me this is not one of your top 100 favorite Pokemon. Plus, he's very slow in Pokemon Camp, which is annoying, but also very cute. And I love when you make him curry in Pokemon Camp, Snom's plate of curry is like gigantic because he has to eat a bunch because he's about to turn into a cocoon. But then when you make it for Frostball, his portion's like this big. That's hilarious. So obviously Snom is on here. Blaziken is just very cool. Firefighting is a very good type, and Blaziken was introduced before it was like a cliched dual typing for starters. And he can learn the move Peck, which I find funny. I mean, that's just hilarious. Dodrio is probably one that not a ton of people would pick. I like Dodrio. I think it's cool that they made it like one of the rideable Pokemon in Let's Go. It gets Tri-Attack, which is an incredibly good move, especially in the earlier generations. Because I think it was they might have changed it to be special now, but back then it was physical, so you could get a physical move off of a Dodrio with pretty high chance to leave a status condition. It's just a very good flying type, and I love that it's a flying type that can't fly, and it can learn fly. Like, Empoleon can't learn fly, but Dodrio can. And its personalities through its different faces are hilarious. Like, I love how the one face is just not into being there. Meowstic isn't my favorite, but I was picking it to represent both Meowstic and Esper, and I do like Esper a lot better, but I think Meowstic has a prettier design. But Esper is just 10 out of 10 Pokemon. Hilarious. I love how they both have the sort of same gimmick with their eyes, or like Meowstic, and if you read the Dex entry, it basically says like if it lifts its ears and you look into its eyes, like it drives you insane or something like that, and it's like, oh, it's just horrifying. I love that. I love Psychic and Ghost type Pokemon and Dark type Pokemon always have Dex entries where you read them and you're like, oh, this would like kill things in real life. Like, it would be horrifying to own one. I just think Meowstic is pretty. Spinda, I love Spinda's animation. The way it wobbles around is not a very good Pokemon, like stat-wise, or to use in battle. Teeter Dance is a fun move to use. Like, Confusion's always fun to inflict on NPCs. But I just love the animation of it, like, waddling around. I just think it's so cute. And the whole pattern thing where it's got, like, a trillion different possible combinations or whatever. Always leads to some fun combinations of different the 4-spot patterns. They're fun to collect because you can always get different spot patterns. Togekiss I like because I had it on my my main team for like competitive battling in Sword and Shield, and it's just very good. I had a Paraflinch Togekiss, and while I would never want to go against one of them, they're very fun to use against people. They were better in Gen 6, but still fun to use. Serene Grace with the paralysis. You just never hit it. Can't kill something you can't hit. Caparaja was on my Steel team in Sword and Shield. That buffed it pretty high. I love elephant Pokemon, as you can tell by Don Fane. Caparaja is a Steel type. Not my favorite design. I do love the trunk. How it almost like looks like a drill or like a hand or something. Or not a drill, like a crane, I guess. Whatever those things are called in construction sites. But like its Gigantamax form is hilarious to me. That's pretty big reason, and its Gmax move is very good. It like sets up steel-based stealth rocks. Very useful for my Steel team in Sword. And we got Reuniclus. I was torn whether or not to put Reuniclus or Musharna here, because I thought Musharna was really ugly at first. But then my friend Douglas sent me a picture of a Musharna that was like fan art of it with its baby, and it was just the cutest fan art I'd ever seen of this like Pokemon that I thought looked really ugly. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And I do think Piglets are really cute, so I used it on my team. It wasn't the best in Gen 5 for like playthrough team, but it is very cute, and it is a good Pokemon. And again, it's got one of those dex entries where you read about Musharna, and it's like, this thing gives you nightmares so that it can eat them because it finds them tasty. And it's like, oh, okay, why would I ever want to own one of these? But I think Reuniclus is just slightly better and cuter, so I'll put Reuniclus here. I don't like Duosion, but Solosis is kind of funny, and Reuniclus is adorable. And it's pretty good in like competitive because of how high its special is. Zoroark, I mean, it's a dark type. It's one of the coolest, like, ability Pokemon. It's pre-evolution Zora or whatever. Adorable. Adorable little puppy Pokemon. Always fun whenever somebody sends out, like, whenever you don't know that somebody has one of these and they send out a Pokemon and it just turns out to be a Zoroark instead, you're always caught off guard. I think that's interesting. Luxray, I just like a Luxray. I mean, I played through Sinnoh. I got Pokemon Pearl when I was a kid in like middle school, maybe even before middle school. Might have been like 5th grade. But whenever it came out, because I got a DS Lite when they came out, I went to get the new Pokemon. Well, new. It wasn't when Pokemon Pearl came out, but I went to get Pokemon Pearl because my friend had Diamond and was like begging me to get Pokemon Pearl so that we could both play. And I hadn't played since Pokemon Red. So I went to Toys R Us with my dad, and it turned out that the day we went there to get Pokemon Pearl was the same day that they had released the new DS Lite. So they weren't selling DSs anymore. Well, I mean, they're still selling DSs, but they were selling DS Lites. So I got a DS Lite and Pokemon Pearl, and I played through that. So I have the nostalgia for Gen 4. And Luxray is just my favorite color scheme of blue, black, and yellow. He's even got a little bit of red in there for his eyes, which like makes it pop and look like cool. It sucks that he's a physical attacking electric type. I mean, I love that in theory, but there's no good physical electric moves. Even still today, there's like the only good physical electric moves are signature moves. So if you don't get a signature move, then you're just screwed if you're a physical attacking electric type. Like Zebstrika is also really cool, but if I had played Gen 5 when it came out, Zebstrika would probably be here instead. But the fact that he gets Intimidate, like, come on. And it's based on a lynx, one of the coolest cats. come on. Electric is one of the best types. I mean, you gotta love him. Galarian Articuno's on here. He's like representing the Galarian birds and the Kanto legendary birds. I like the Kanto legendary birds because of the nostalgia. They're not the best. I think Articuno is probably my favorite of the three, and then Zapdos and then Moltres. But Galarian Articuno and Galarian... I mean, all the Galarian forms of the birds are great. But Galarian Articuno just looks so cool. Looks so cool. I can't wait to play this the Crown Tundra DLC. And the fact that they made Galarian Zapdos like a Chocobo or whatever is hilarious to me. He was almost on here instead, but it's just so elegant. Look at him. Garchomp is on here because I've been playing through all the Pokemon games and I was using a Garchomp in Platinum and I just grew so attached to it because it's just so good. It's so good. It's so good. Like it's a pseudo legendary and it's an amazing typing for attacking. Dragon Ground, like come on. And the fact that they like added it in a secret area that's hard to access if you don't know that it exists is really cool to me, and you have to solve a puzzle to find it, which I know it's probably annoying to some people, but I thought that was a really cool idea for them, because like there's never hidden places in Pokemon. If you want to go somewhere and you can't, it's just blocked off by a bush or some rock or some arbitrary thing blocking your path. It was pretty bad in Gen 5 where they were like, there's a band playing here today so you can't go, and then it's like you beat the gym and it's like, oh, they're done now. Like, come on, put a little effort in. But yeah, I just think Garchomp's really cool. He helped me beat Pokemon Platinum, so obviously grew attached to him on my playthrough team. Or her, I should say, was a female Garchomp. Slowbro is just hilarious. I love his voice in the anime where he's like, Slowbro. And Slowking is also equally hilarious in concept to me. The fact that he like gets smarter because of the parasite that bit him, it's just amazing. I always was confused about how this is supposed to be a Shelder. This doesn't look anything like a Shelder. Like, I get that it kind of like changes when it bites the Slowpoke tail and it like changes them and they both evolve. It's just weird because it like doesn't look anything like a Shelder at all. But yeah, I just like psychic types are always pretty funny. It's like I always felt bad for it because in the Pokedex it's like this thing is too dumb to feel pain. So whenever something hurts it, it doesn't actually hurt. I mean, it does, but it just is too dumb to understand what pain is. So it's like, Jesus. Yveltal is on here because I love Hot Topic goth Pokemon. They're just endearing to me. I think they're cool. I've always loved like Pokemon that most people think are like too, I don't know, like too try hard in their sort of edgy designs. Yeah, I guess edgy is the right word. Like, I love edgy Pokemon. Edgy designed everything. I just think edgy stuff is fun and cool. And I really like in the Pokemon Talk series that M&J TV does, his character is like, Yveltal! So that boosted him pretty significantly. I mean, it's Lucario. Like, come on. He's a playable character in Smash, like Greninja. It's cool typing. I hate that he's a friendship-based evolution. In fact, you know what? Bottom of the list. Friendship-based evolution, bottom of the list. Hate that. And he can only be evolved during the daytime, which everyone always forgets, because why would they remember? Like, yeah, I get the friendship-based evolution. I hate that mechanic, but I get it. But why is it only during the day for Lucario? Why can he only be evolved during the daytime? That's so dumb. Like, it makes sense for some Pokemon, like Umbreon, right? Like, it was introduced in the generation where that mechanic became possible. But, like, why Lucario? I hate that. But, very good. Stats-wise, he's very good. He's got good abilities. Mega Lucario is busted. I've always thought Crawdaunt looked very cool, even as a kid. But then when we got the 3D games and I realized that blue stripe was actually its lips, he lost a lot of points in my book because that is just dumb looking. It looks like he's wearing blue lipstick, and I hate that. I always thought it was just like a cool stripe they added to the design, but no, that's his mouth. I hate that so much. Otherwise, very cool Pokemon. Decidueye is just an amazing concept, and I love that it's just your starter just dies. Like he's a ghost type, so but he's not. He doesn't start out as a ghost type, so yeah, your starter just dies in this game. But he's based on Robin Hood and is like a very cool design concept. The animations are cool. He gets like a bow and arrow. Love him. Do all Pokemon eventually evolve into ghost types? Maybe. Alola Ninetales is just cool. I used it on regular Ninetales on my fire team along with Chandelure, which, like, I always thought Ninetales was a very pretty Pokemon, but I didn't realize how good it was in battle until I used one on my fire team. Arcanine is technically better than Ninetales, like, in battle. But I don't know. As a kid, I always liked Ninetales better. Like I always thought Arcanine. I think it's because in the anime, Gary, Ash's rival, has an Arcanine, so I always kind of associated it with Gary, and that made me like it less. I mean, don't get me wrong, Growlithe is adorable, but I always just associated Arcanine with being like with the annoying rival who I hated. And Arcanine's a great Pokemon. I just like Ninetales better. And Alola Ninetales is beautiful, and it has such a cool typing, so obviously I went with that to represent Ninetales on the list, but I do like regular Ninetales better just because I have more experience with it, but Alola Ninetales is beautiful. Wishy-Washy's on here because of his design. Like, what a brilliant design concept for like, a weaker Magikarp, but it's like becomes one of the strongest Pokemon in the game when it gets a bunch of it together, and it looks so scary but cool at the same time. Amazing, amazing. Whoever came up with Wishy-Washy, 10 out of 10, you deserve a raise. I have no idea what typing this thing is. I had never even seen it before I made this list, but Komala, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. I had to put it on the list. I couldn't not. It could be the worst Pokemon in the entire game. I haven't played through Gen 7 yet. It had to be on the list. Look at him. He's so cute. He's just a tired little koala. I can't wait to see what like his dex entries are like and what type he is and how he is in the game. I'm very excited to see Komala in the game whenever I get to Sun and Moon. Dragapult. Oh man, I have a love-hate relationship with Dragapult. Dragapult and Mimikyu both. I have a love-hate relationship with. They're just so annoying to battle because they're just broken. They're too good. But they're also very good because of that. So, like, I love them, but I hate fighting against them. Same with Milotic. Like, Milotic is very good, but I hate fighting it. And the reason Dragapult is on here is because of its Pokedex entry, where it says its babies love being launched out of its jets, like rockets, and they, like, look forward to it, and they animate it where they're, like, excitedly hurry back to be shot out again after they get launched. 10 out of 10. The saving grace of the Pokemon. I hate fighting it still, though. Its little feet are also kind of cute. Gliscor is just a very cool Pokemon. One of the best shinies in the entire game. Probably, if not for shiny Umbreon, this would probably be my favorite shiny in the game. Cool typing, ground flying, like, come on. That's cool typing. He's, like, very scary. I hate that he's an item-based evolution, but I get it because of, like, when he was introduced. He's just very cool. He's like a scorpion that can fly, like a bat scorpion. Like, come on, that's so cool. Electros is on here because I've been using one in my Pokemon White 2 playthrough, and it's just... Tynamo is adorable. I don't like Electros's design, but I really like the way they animate it to be like, it looks like it's swimming through the air. And the fact that it has no weaknesses, like, come on, it's a strong Pokemon with no weaknesses, and it's an electric type. I love me some electric types. And like I said, Tynamo is very cute. Or Timpole, whatever the baby one is I think it's Tim. No, Timpole's Seismitoad. I forget. Anyway, the baby one is adorable. Ludicolo is on here because I used one in my playthrough team of Sword and grew really attached to it. And I love his dance back and forth. He looks so derpy, but he's like so fun. He's just having a good time. He's just wearing a sombrero and having a good time dancing. He's a really cool dual type, and also incredibly useful for being like an HM mule in Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire and Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald. Or if you pick Blaziken, you can just have a Ludicolo. Well, if you're playing Sapphire, because it's version exclusive, but he's a cool guy. And he can learn Ice Beam. Come on. He just shoots a beam of ice out of his mouth as he dances. Come on. I used one in Kalos too, I think, actually. Entei is solely on here because of the movie I saw as a kid where they introduced Entei. That movie probably has not stood the test of time. If I watched it now, I'd probably hate it. But as a kid, I thought Entei was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. I mean, and he's like... I don't remember the plot of the movie, because last time I saw it was when it came out, but he's like being controlled by the little girl's dad or something, and he's just very like fatherly but protective and cool, and he's like a fire type, which I didn't expect when I played the games, because he doesn't really do anything in the movies that I can remember that's like would make me believe he was a fire type. It makes sense, but Suicune's probably, if I hadn't seen the movies as a kid, Suicune would be my favorite, but solely because of the movies. Entei's up here. And he's not even that good of a Pokemon, really. But I do like, and I hate roaming Pokemon. God, I hate catching roaming Pokemon. Whoever had that idea to add roaming Pokemon into the game, I hate them. Alolan Marowak is just very cool. I hate that he doesn't get his signature move until before he evolves, so you have to use like a heart scale or whatever to reteach it to him. But a ghost type, and he's like, his bone is on fire. I always thought Marowak and Cubone, I always thought Cubone was cute, but I always thought Marowak was such a cool concept for a Pokemon as a kid. And ground type is pretty good offensively. And just Alolan Marowak just looks so cool. I haven't played through the games yet. I might not like it as much. Ghost is not my favorite. I prefer Dark to Ghost, but I do really think this is a very cool design. Amoonguss is probably not one that many people would have in their top 100, but so I played Pokemon Red as a kid and Pokemon Pearl as a kid, and I didn't touch Pokemon again until Pokemon Sword came out because I wanted to get a Nintendo Switch, and it was right around the time that Pokemon Sword and Shield were released. So I got a Switch along with Pokemon Sword. And before that happened, I was hearing all the hype surrounding Sword and Shield coming out. So I wanted to get back into Pokemon. So before I played through Sword, my nephew had a 3DS that he said he didn't want anymore. So I was like, well, if you don't want it anymore, I'll take it. And I asked his dad if it was okay, and he was like, yeah, that's fine. So I took his 3DS, and he had a copy of Pokemon Y. I was like, I'll play through Pokemon Y. I haven't played Pokemon since Pokemon Pearl. And I just had a blast. Like, I'd never played a 3D Pokemon game before. There were so many new Pokemon that I didn't know existed, because this is Generation 6, and the last one I played was Pearl. And I didn't even complete the Pokedex in Pearl as a kid, because it was impossible. But Moongus was on my main playthrough team of Pokemon Y, because I'd never seen it before, and I just thought it looked kind of cute. Like, its baby version looked kind of cute, and it was grass poison type, so I was like, poison's pretty effective offensively, so I was like, okay. And it could learn the move Venoshock. Now, I had never used a Pokemon with Toxic before, and obviously not Venoshock, because I don't think Venoshock got added till Gen 5, or around that time. And, yeah, it was broken in that generation. Like, for fighting against fairy types, the new type that they introduced that were added to the game, like, oh my god, it was amazing. Toxic Venoshock just kills, like, everything in that game. I grew really attached to him, because it was just so good for killing the Pokemon in the playthrough. And obviously, Pokemon Y is a very easy game, but I just had a blast using him. And he's so derpy looking, and he has the same mouth as like Homer Simpson. And I love The Simpsons as a like middle schooler back when it was good. Uh, Amoonguss, very good Pokemon. Love Amoonguss. And, and then when I told my friend Douglas that I had got back into Pokemon again since last time I played was Pokemon Pearl, he was like, "Ooh, battle me!" And I was like, "Okay." And I used my Amoonguss against it. I had no idea that like competitive Pokemon was like I knew people battled Pokemon competitive, but I had no idea how in depth it was. Like I didn't know about EVs or IVs or natures or any of that crap. So I was like, I'll send out my Amoonguss against him, and well, like, Toxic and Venoshock and destroy his team. He annihilated me, man. He just destroyed my team because he had like fully EV trained Pokemon with beneficial natures and everything. We didn't stand a chance, my poor Amoonguss and me. So that was a good lesson to learn about humility in Pokemon. Milotic's on here. I have even more of a love-hate relationship with Milotic than Dragapult. I hate this thing so much. I hate it so much. It evolves from Feebas based on the beauty mechanic of all things in the early generations until they added the item-based trait evolution, which has another trait evolution I hate, but I like more than beauty. It is so annoying to fight. But it's just such a good Pokemon, like stat-wise. It's just so good to use in battle. And it is pretty. I hate it, but it's pretty, and it's too good in battle not to, like... Oh man, I really hate this thing though. And it's so hard to find, like, and get in the early games. Like, it's so hard to find Feebas in Generations 3 and 4. I hate Milotic. I actually got Milotic registered in my Pokedex in Generation 4, because I've been trying to complete the National Dex in every generation, like I said. I got it from the event Shiny Milotic, and that was how I registered it in the Pokedex, because I was not about to evolve a Feebas in Generation 4. Screw that, man. Dugtrio is very dumb, but I love him. And as a kid, when I played through Pokemon Red, and I got into Diglett Cave, I was so annoyed by like the caves, because it was, it's the caves of Pokemon Red. There's like Zubats and Dugtrio and like Golbats and everything everywhere. But then when I was going through Diglett Cave as a kid, and I ran into Dugtrio, I didn't know this thing existed. And I was like, oh, that's weird. There's 3 of them. I guess it's the evolution. This thing nearly wiped out my team. Because it was just ground type, and all my team was weak to ground type. And I was like, I have to have this thing to use on my team. It's so good. And I caught it with like my last Pokeball. Broke out of like all my Pokeballs until I caught it on like my last Great Ball or whatever. And I used it on my team. And I just grew to love it because of that experience. I just thought it was very cool because of how powerful it was. Because it's very fast and it hits very hard. But that's about all it can do. Weavile is just very cool. I think Sneasel's kind of... he's kind of a cute... Like, it reminds me of like a teenager trying to be edgy. But like, it's kind of endearing to watch because they're like not... they're still young, right? But then he turns into Weavile. Weavile's so good, like, competitively. And he's a Dark Ice type, which is, like, a really cool type matchup. Come on. Not my favorite Pokemon, but he's up there. Toxtricity is just so cool. Like, I mean, he's just fun, awesome to use in battle. Electric Poison doesn't seem like it would be that good of a typing. But then you look at, like, its resistances and what it's offensively good against, and it's like, oh, this is kind of insanely good. I love the blue and purple form, like the low energy form or whatever it's called. Amped is probably the cooler design, but blue and purple I just think it makes for an interesting color combo. It's got an amazing hidden ability. I think it's hidden ability that's cool that like boosts sound-based moves. And my friend Douglas gave me a shiny Gigantamax one that I was using in my poison team, and that was fun to use. Um, yeah, he's just very cool. I love the. I don't like Toxel that much. I think it's kind of creepy, but the punk rock aesthetic is just amazing, and like I love the fact that he like strums his weird chest like frills like a guitar. Amazing Pokemon. Uh, Venusaur is he's a Kanto starter, man. Like, come on, come on. I think I liked Venusaur because back in the anime when I watched it when it was originally airing, I remember there was this island with like giant Pokemon. This was before Gigantamax, obviously. It was like Kanto generation. But they went to this like island. It was a filler in the anime, but they went to this island of giant Pokemon, and I think one of them was a Venusaur, and I think that was why I liked it so much. Was because I thought that it was just normally like gigantic, and I thought that was really cool. And also, its Mega and Gigantamax forms are pretty cool looking. And it's pretty good in battle. It's Gyarados. It's Gyarados. Come on. Gyarados in the anime, I loved that episode of the anime as a kid when they were on the cruise ship and it like sinks and gets sort of like flipped upside down, and then like half the episode takes place where they're like having to navigate through the water, and the water type Pokemon are helping them get their way through like the flooded parts of the ship, and they have to work together with Jesse and James. That blew my mind as a kid. That episode, I was like, man, this is the best written show I've ever seen. This is so cool. And that was the episode with Magikarp. I think, I don't know if it was when they introduced Magikarp or not, but I thought, this is the dumbest Pokemon I've ever seen. It's so useless. Why would anyone want to use this thing? And then it evolves and you're like, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's so cool and good. And like when that Magikarp in the anime evolved and I saw Gyarados for the first time, my jaw like dropped. I mean, come on. How can you not think this is the like coolest designed Pokemon ever as a kid? Sawsbuck is... I love Winter form Sawsbuck is my favorite one. And Deerling is really adorable. And I love that when you complete the side quest in Pokemon Black and White of bringing them each of the 4 different seasons of Deerling, then when you return each time, they've been inspired by how cute Deerling is and gone out and caught their own ones, and you come back and they're like running around in the overworld around the scientists in the lab. That is so cute and adorable, and I love that like scene. That really endeared me a lot to Deerling. And Sawsbuck is just such a cool Pokemon. Like, it's a physical attacking grass type, and it's a normal type too, which like normal grass is a really interesting dual type in my opinion. I think physical attacking grass types are just, I don't know what it is, but the idea of like thinking about a grass type that like punches things or like hits them with their horns in Sawsbuck's case is just so interesting. And he learns such good moves for battle, like Sap Sipper or whatever it's called. Like, he has some really good signature moves. Definitely, people sleep on Sawsbuck, one of the coolest Pokemon. And some of his forms are just so elegant. Pidgeot's on here because of Mega Pidgeot having the best... like, Mega Pidgeot is probably my favorite Mega in terms of, like, design. That I can think of off the top of my head, at least. Mega Gardevoir is pretty good, too, because it makes me laugh, because it's just like, it got stabbed a second time, and now it's more powerful. But Mega Pidgeot is beautiful. I love Mega Pidgeot. Honestly, I like Pidgeotto better than Pidgeot, I think because it was more prevalent in the anime. But Ash had one, obviously, so, like, kind of, you know, have the nostalgia factor. And I used a Pidgeot on my first ever playthrough of Pokemon Red as a kid. It was my flyer, because I caught a Starly, and I was like, this is my team now. Because it's, you know, it's the early route Pokemon. I just like Pidgeotto and Mega Pidgeot. Oh, and then Let's Go Eevee. I mean, spoilers for Let's Go Eevee, if anyone cares about that. But when I was playing through Let's Go Eevee, all I had heard about the game was people complaining, saying it was the easiest Pokemon game ever, and they were just cashing in on the popularity of Pokemon Go, which they were, but like, come on, even TOP was a Pokemon company. But I loved that game. I thought that game, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, was way better than Sword and Shield in terms of like how much fun I had playing it and how well designed the game was. Yeah, was it easy? Yes. But then you beat the Pokemon League and fight your rival, who all throughout the game had just been like super nice and annoying because of how nice he was to you. And then he throws out a Mega Pidgeot, and I'm like, there are Megas in this game? I had no idea. Nothing had prepared me for that. I was not ready to fight a Mega Pidgeot. It threw me completely off guard. I still won the battle, obviously, but like, man, that like blew my mind. So I was not ready for Megas to be in the game. I didn't even realize that Alolan Pokemon were in the game because I know now that you can trade the regular form for the Alolan form. But when you talk to most of the people that do those trades in the game, they just say, like, I'll trade you your Meowth for my Meowth. They don't say, like, an Alolan Meowth. So I was very confused by that. I was like, maybe it'll trade me one with a hidden ability or something, and I just never did the trade. But then I realized later that that was for the Alolan forms. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I should have traded for a Dark type. Anyway, but I just didn't realize how many things were in the game. And, like, and then the dialogue in that game for most of the characters, 10 out of 10 like comedic dialogue in that game. It's a little weird how they walk around kind of awkwardly sometimes, and I don't like the new rival, but Blue's in the game anyway, so it doesn't really matter because you can fight Blue anyway. Well, you can fight Red. I don't know if you can fight Blue, but he's in the game. Like, the post game is not very good from like a battling perspective, but it's great for like catching Pokemon, which is what I like to do in Pokemon mainly, so it's good for me. And I love that you unlock the flying, and the animation when you get the flying ability at the end of the game is like, the cutscene is so hilarious. Very good dialogue in that game. It's a great game, better than Sword and Shield by a mile. I will die on this hill. Morpeko is on here. He represents all the Pikachu ripoffs. Emolga is one of my favorites, but I like Morpeko just a little bit better. I love Emolga so much, but Morpeko is just, the fact that he changes into a Dark type every other move, amazing. If he doesn't eat, I think if he eats a berry or something, then he doesn't change. But it's whatever. It's like a gimmick. But Emolga's definitely up there because I think Emolga and Dedenne are cuter than Pikachu. Well, I said it. And Morpeko's adorable as well. I think Pikachu's cuter, but I just like his gimmick more than the other ones. Dedenne, I was so hyped when I caught a Dedenne in Pokemon Y and I saw its typing of Electric Fairy. I was like, this is going to be my best Pokemon. And then I learned its stats. And I was like, this is useless. And I was very disappointed by Dedenne because I thought it was the cutest Pikachu ripoff I'd ever seen. I thought its typing was amazing. And then I tried to use it in battle, and it was complete garbage, and I was very sad. And that's why Morpeko is better. And also Emolga is better, but Emolga barely didn't make the cut because Morpeko's Hangry mode is just adorable. Speaking of Pokemon that Blue had that sort of made me associate with him, I always thought Blastoise was very cool, but I always saw it as like a rival to overcome because I picked Charizard as a kid when I played through Pokemon Red, obviously, because I liked the anime. And so it was always very hard for me to fight against Blastoise because I had a fire type, and most of my team was weak to water. So I always struggled fighting against Blastoise, but it's just very cool. And even in the anime, the way they animate its facial expressions always makes it look like such a badass. And it's just got cannons on its back, like, come on. And Squirtle's very cute. And the Squirtle Squad from the anime, amazing. Yeah, I mean, come on. Infernape is a fire monkey, firefighting's type. It's one of two fully evolved starters in the Diamond and Pearl regional decks. And the only other option, if you don't pick Infernape, is Rapidash, who's kind of bad. uh, although Galarian Rapidash is pretty adorable. I like Galarian Rapidash a lot. But Infernape, very cool. I think Chimchar has the worst of the starter designs for Gen 4 for the base form. I think something about Chimchar, I've always thought he was kind of ugly. I think it's because his proportions are too, like, his neck is too skinny for his head. His like hands are bulbous. I don't know. I always thought Chimchar, and his head's got like a weird shape. But then he evolves into Infernape, and it's like, that is cool looking. Like, his blue hands are so cool, and his hair is on fire. Like, his hair is fire, and he's based on Sun Wukong, which is like one of my favorite legends. Man, Cloyster is just a very good Pokemon. Like, I like its ability. I think it's its hidden ability where multi-turn moves always hit the maximum number of times with Ice Shard, and or something like moves like that. And it's Water Ice, which is pretty good. Very useful typing. Its stats are very weird, but like in a cool way, where it's like insanely bulky defensively. And in the original games, the sprite wasn't vertical, so it looked really cool and mysterious and badass instead of just kind of goofy and like something else. Moving on, Psyduck is hilarious, and I'm pretty sure that like 95% of the reason he's on my list is because of the anime, and with Misty Psyduck being hilarious. And I always thought it was so funny that it was just a duck that had psychic powers, and I felt so bad for him because he's just always suffering from a headache. But then whenever he would like go off in the anime, I was like terrified. And I had a Golduck that I was using as an HM slave in my Soul Silver playthrough, but then it ended up being like one of the strongest members on my team because it had an ice move. So I ended up really endeared to Golduck because of that. So Psyduck and Golduck made their way on here for that reason. I'm going to take a quick break to grab some water because I've been talking a lot and I ran out of water a while ago. I will be right back. I'm back. Much better. Where was I? Victini. Victini, literally the majority of the reason he's on here is because his Pokedex entry is basically says, like, he brings people good luck. And I've always thought, I mean, first of all, the letter V is very cool, and he looks very cool. And he's a mythical Pokemon, which are usually pretty good. I think he looks very cute. I love the peace sign thing. It annoys me that he's at the beginning of the Pokedex in the Unova region instead of the end of it. But, cool typing. He'd be if like I could own any Pokemon in real life, he'd definitely be in the top 10 most useful Pokemon to own in real life. Maybe would be the one I would even pick. But yeah, very useful Pokemon. I think he's cute. I like his eyes. I mean, he's cute. Excadrill is on here because he's very cool and very good Drillbur is adorable. Excadrill, Ground Steel, two of my favorite attacking types in one Pokemon. Like, come on. He looks a little dumb. Like, I mean, not dumb. He's like kind of derpy in like not a great way, but because like he's trying to look fierce, but the sort of, I think it's the curve of the thing going over his head makes him look a little derpy in a bad way. But I love his typing. He's very good in battle, especially during sandstorms with like Sandstream or whatever, the thing that makes him fast in sandstorms. Very good Pokemon for competitive. Shaman is on here because of its sky form and how adorable its sky form is, where it looks like a little grass dog almost with like, I don't know, it's very cute. Even its regular form is really cute too, but I just think its sky form is adorable. Herdier is only on here because it reminds me of my friend Douglas's dog Hunter, and his dog is a good boy. He's very cute. He's a very good boy, and Herdier looks just like him. Whenever I catch one, I name it Hunter after Douglas's dog because he's so cute and he's such a good boy. What are you streaming today, Duck? Welcome to the stream, by the way. I didn't even know you were gonna be streaming something similar today. I saw you've been doing a Soul Silver playthrough. A tier list of every Pokemon. Oh, that's gonna take hours! You know how many Pokemon there are, right? Hold on. Duck, I'm speaking to you now as somebody who has been trying to assemble a living dex by collecting Pokemon from every generation. You know how many Pokemon there are, right? It's a community goal? You kind of have to do it then. I really need to figure out how to, like, flip my camera so that I'm looking at the right... When I look... Yeah, you are going to be streaming for a long time tonight, buddy. I've only been going over why these ones are my favorite, and I've already been talking for over an hour. And I'm only on Herdier. So I still have at least 30 to go. Also, he's a normal type, which is very good. And he's very useful because he has a pickup ability. Especially in the Unova region, where XP is a pain in the butt to get. Almanite is on here entirely because of Twitch Plays Pokemon. If not for that, he would not be anywhere near this list. He's an interesting design. Horrifying evolutionary design. But yeah, when I was making my list... Before I knew this website existed, I was making a list of my favorite Pokemon in like a Google Doc. And under the listing for him, I just wrote Lord Helix. So yeah. Yeah, have fun with that 18-hour stream. Don't forget all their Mega Evolutions, Gigantamax forms, battle forms, like for example with Cherim or Cherubi has the Intense Sun form, and then there's ones like your boy Absol is on here. That's right, we'll get to him. He's in my top 10. Yeah, man, you're gonna have a rough time of it. Like Shaman has a Sky form I was just talking about. Oh, you're gonna have to do like a part 5, my dude. If you actually go over every type, or every like every version, in depth, depends on how much you talk about it, I guess. Buizel is on here, which is probably a singular experience for me. I thought Floatzel was very cool. I was on my playthrough team when I played through Pokemon Pearl as a kid. I used it to replace Gastrodon after I got to the point where I could catch a Buizel, or a Floatzel, I mean, later in the game, because Gastrodon was just so slow. I would always get hit in battle. I like Chandelure. I grew pretty close to it using one in my fire team in Sword. But yeah, Buizel is on here for a reason, because And Pokemon Platinum, because like I said, I've been going back through and playing through all the games, trying to complete the national decks in every Pokemon game. And I started with Platinum, and because it's like the oldest one that you can still do with, unless you get like 2 old consoles that are really expensive. But anyway, I was catching the roaming Pokemon in Pokemon Platinum, and I needed a Pokemon that could damage them before they could run away. And I didn't have any that were fast enough that wouldn't also like knock them out instantly, like Oko them. So I grabbed a random Weasel with Aqua Jet, and it just... I called him Godslayer because he would it was like a level 20 Weasel or something like that. Like a very under-leveled Weasel for like level, 30 or 40 Pokemon. But every time I would try to use Aqua Jet on a roaming legendary, he would crit and kill it, and I would have to reset the game. And eventually, I just had to respect him because he was hell-bent on killing the legends of the game. Like, he was a true Godslayer. I still have that Weasel. He's in my Pokemon White now, but I have mad respect for Weasel because he's just too powerful. He can't be contained. Oh yeah, have fun getting your food. I should order some food, actually. What should I get? We have leftover pot roast that I could eat. Or I could be bad and get some McDonald's. Definitely not gonna do it. Definitely gonna eat that. I'll eat the pot roast for dinner. What should I get from McDonald's? Probably just get some chicken. But yeah, Buizel the Godslayer will forever live on. I mean, it was too good. He was too good. He was useful, obviously, for like chipping them down, but like, I was amazed. I was frustrated, but like impressed. I called him Godslayer, but I didn't actually nickname him because I wasn't sure if the game would let me say that or not. But eventually, when he gets to Generation 8 in Pokemon Sword, I'll be able to rename him even if I am not the original trainer, so I'll probably try to rename him then and see if it lets me. Here we go. Let's get some food. Shall I? I shall. Hopefully this gets delivered after I'm done with the stream. I don't have to awkwardly go get it in the middle of streaming. He is a champ, man. I actually had to go and catch a separate Buizel that didn't know Aqua Jet to complete my living decks because I was like, he has to be kept in a separate box. He's too good for this. I kept him in my mythical box. But anyway, that's why Buizel's on here. Mudsdale is just... I like Mudsdale. I think he's intimidating. He's cool. He's a ground type, which I like. I don't know. Something about like an intimidating horse with dreadlocks is just so cool to me. And I think he's used by the trainer. I haven't played through the Alola region yet, but I think he's used by the girl who's like a little girl, but like a gym leader essentially. I know they're not gym leaders in that game, but she's like just a little girl. And all the previous ground type gym leaders were... There's only 2. It was Giovanni and Clay, and they're both like evil businessmen type. And then it's just a little girl with this intense horse with dreadlocks, and I was like, this thing is scary looking. And it's pretty good and competitive too. Gallade he's got swords for arms, man. Come on. He's an amazing Pokemon for catching other Pokemon, because he can learn Hypnosis, and he's decently fast, and he can learn Skill Swap, and Mean Look, and all kinds of like useful things for catching Pokemon. False Swipe, obviously. I like Gardevoir too, but I like Gallade a little better design-wise. Gardevoir is probably better competitively, but... And like I said, Mega Gardevoir has always been funny to me, because the concept is just like, now she got stabbed in the chest twice, so she's twice as powerful. Mega Gardevoir just makes me laugh. Vikavolt or Vikavolt or however you say it, he's just so badass looking. Electric Bug is such a cool type. He's amazing on Trick Room teams, or I actually had a team where I would send out like I think it was a Galvantula, and then I would use like a bunch of string shots or sticky webs, I mean. And then people would get slowed down by the webs, and then when they killed the Galvantula, I would send out Vikavolt, and he'd actually be fast enough to like deal with people. I mean, usually not, because he's just that slow, but he's great for Trick Room teams. And Electric Bug is really interesting typing. He's just very cool, and Charger Bug makes me laugh. I've heard he's annoying to evolve in the original games of Sun and Moon, though. But I only used him in Sword and Shield, so I wouldn't know. Raboot. I love Raboot. Looking at him now makes me sad because of what happened in my Nuzlocke, but I still love Raboot, and I think he's one of the best designs. People hate on Raboot, but I just think he's very cute and adorable and lovely. And I think Cinderace has some of the best animations in the entire game when they can align them right. But yeah, Raboot. When I saw this thing, well, like when my Scorbunny evolved and I saw this thing for the first time, I lost it. I was like, that is the most adorable thing I have ever seen. It's just a bunny that wants to be an edgy ninja, but he's like 12. That's adorable. He's like a 10-year-old that watched an episode of Naruto, and now he's playing in the backyard like he's Naruto. And he's a bunny. It's just cute. Minior is probably not one that a ton of people would put. I don't really know anything about Minior, other than it's really cool. Like, it floats in the air, and has cool animation of like opening up and sort of like bobbing up and down in midair. It's different color variations are all really cool looking. I don't even know what type this thing. I would assume it's a rock type. But it's shiny, is one of the best shinies in the game. I can't wait to play through Sun and Moon and see if it's any good. I hope it is, because I think it looks really cool, and I like the concept of just like a cool floating space rock. Beware is on here because it is a very good type, dual type, and it's one of the scariest Pokemon in the entire game, because its whole concept is just it's a stuffed animal Pokemon that is adorable and everybody sees and wants to hug, but it evolved to be like that because it crushes people to death, and that's how it gets its sustenance. It's horrifying, and I love that, and that's why it's on the list. Ursaring is one that everyone sleeps on. I think Ursaring, even like when I was a kid and I was watching the anime, and whenever I would see this thing in the anime, this thing was terrifying because it's just a bear, but with sharper claws, and it's just like, and it's got like the intelligence of a human, but it can't talk, but it's just a bear. And I don't know, it's kind of dumb, I guess, but I thought it was cool. And it learns the move Slash, which I was kind of, I don't know. As a kid, when I played through Pokemon Red, and crits were based on speed back then, and Slash was one of those moves with a high crit chance, so it was like 8 times more likely to crit, and it was based on speed. So I had a Charizard that was level 100 and knew Slash. So as long as I wasn't against a ghost type, I just killed everything with Slash. So then when I saw the anime, there was a Pokemon where its whole thing was it was a normal type with Slash, and it was just a bear, and it was like 4 times bigger than Ash. I was like, this is horrifying. I would never want to run into one of these things. I must have one. And it gets the stab boost from Slash, which is cool. Torterra is very very fun, based on a world turtle. Like, come on, that's so cool. That's so interesting. Awesome. It's a ground grass, which is like, I love the dual type evolutions of the Sinnoh Pokemon, where they all like evolve into dual types that sort of change how they match up against each other. Where Infernape gets the fighting type to deal with Empoleon's new steel type, and Torterra gets the ground type to sort of be effective against the steel type now. But Empoleon can learn ice moves now to deal with Torterra, and it's like I don't know. It's just like the concept of them becoming so much more complex is really cool. And I think Torterra is just one of the best designed final evolutions. I really do think it's the best final evolution of the Sinnoh starters, design wise, and it's so big that I thought that was really interesting. I loved in the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie where they made the Torterras like gigantic to represent they were based on world turtles. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, just like Torterra. Which is funny because both Infernape and Torterra are on my top 100 list, but when I played Pokemon Pearl as a kid, I chose Piplup. I wanted to choose Chimchar because I thought Infernape was really cool in the anime, but my friend had Diamond and he had chosen Chimchar, so he said that I should choose Piplup, and I did think Piplup was very cute. Um, or sorry, he didn't choose Chim. He had chosen Piplup, and he was basically telling me how cute Piplup was and all that. And I did agree that Piplup was cute. I just generally picked the Fire Starter because I went with Charizard as a kid. But I picked Piplup, and Empoleon was still good. I didn't like it as much. Where was I? Jolteon. Jolteon's just a spiky boy. He's very fast, and I love him. And he's very cute and adorable, and he's just a very good boy. And he can learn bug-type moves in Gen 1, which makes him like one of the best Pokemon in the entire game, because he's a super fast Pokemon that can learn Pin Missile. Come on. One of the strongest Pokemon in the Kanto region. He's very good. And Umbreon is up there with my... There's so many good evolutions, man. Umbreon's good. I mean, they're all good, really. The only one I don't really like that much is Flareon. Is probably my least favorite of the evolutions. But I don't dislike Flareon. I think it looks fine. It's just my least favorite of them. And the fact that it just has like a ridiculous attack stat and just like headbutts things, like that's always been kind of funny with me. Because I would think looking at Flareon, it would be a special attacker. But then you look at its attack and it's just like, no, it's better at like headbutting things. Why would it learn Flamethrower if it can just headbutt things harder? But yeah, Umbreon has my favorite shiny in the game. So Umbreon's definitely up there. But I just like Jolteon a little better. It's just cooler looking. And you know what? I think it is. I think it's the stats. Because Umbreon is very good. Like, it's the best designed of the evolutions, I think. But it's a friendship-based evolution, first of all. I hate friendship-based evolutions. And second, Umbreon's stats are good, but they're not good for my general playstyle. I generally like to either play things that are very fast and hit very hard, or very slow and hit very hard and like put them on a Trick Room team, or have good support for like double teams, or, like double battles. I mean, so Umbreon's kind of like a wall type Pokemon, like special defense wall, if I remember right. And it's just never really been my style for playing the game. But I do like Umbreon a lot. Vileplume is on here basically entirely because of my Nuzlocke. I've been doing a Pokemon Shield, where the star of the show by far has been Gina, my Vileplume. The bloodthirsty monster who cannot be quenched and cannot be stopped. I love Gina so much. And Vileplume's very good. Cool gender difference. Poison grass, interesting typing. Pretty common one, but I like it a lot more than Gloom. I hate Gloom so much, but Vileplume is cute. And Oddish is also very cute. So, yeah, like I said, entirely because of Gina, the Vileplume. I hate this thing. Battling against it. battling against this thing is a nightmare. But it is so good, and the design concept is 10 out of 10. Pokedex entry is amazing. The fact that it can wear different disguises is also very interesting to me. I'm curious, like, I think it would be cool if they did different Mimikyu disguises with merch, or if they started selling merchandise of Mimikyu, but wearing different disguises of, like, different Pokemon. Like, what if it disguised itself as a Weasel? What if it disguised itself as a Marshadow? What if it disguised itself as, you know, like a Spinda or whatever? It only disguised itself as Pikachu because Pikachu is popular and it wanted to be popular too. And also, its Pokedex entry basically says it's so ugly that everyone who looks at it dies. Or meets a horrible fate. It's like, that's so sad. It's tragic. It's a tragic Pokemon, but I love it so much. I just hate battling it because it's annoying, but it's fun to use. Interesting ability, definitely. Marshadow is on here because I don't know what it is. It's something about its eyes combined with its stance that is just like, it's almost like Uncanny Valley, but in the best way possible. And it's a ghost fighting type. Like, that is such a cool dual type. And its ability is, I think it's got, like, Technician or something. It's got one of those hidden abilities or, like, normal abilities where it just increases its competitive usage, or not use, but, like, potential so much. Like, it's, like, exponentially makes it more powerful. Because it basically makes it so that its less powerful moves become its most powerful moves. And it's just so versatile, and it's such an amazing dual type. It's a mythical Pokemon, so it's like, you're never really going to see it. But that just makes me like it even more, because it's rarer. Amazing Pokemon. Love Marshadow. I'm curious to see what its movie is like, because I haven't watched the movie for it yet. Donphan is entirely here because of the anime I watched as a kid. And Donphan in the anime was so cool. And the way it, like, spins into a tire to do its rollout attack. Amazing. And Phanpy is one of the cutest Pokemon in the game. Like, I hate that it's a version-exclusive Pokemon and that it's really bad in playthrough teams because it doesn't get any good moves until it evolves. At least in the original Johto games. They kind of fixed it a little in the remakes, but it's still version-exclusive, and it still doesn't really get any good moves until it evolves. And then, even then, it's not until, like, level 50 or something ridiculous. But Donphan is a great Pokemon, and it's a ground type, one of the best attacking types. It's just very cool, and it's an elephant-type Pokemon that's a tire? What a weird concept for a design, but it just works for some reason. I like elephants. Just a cool Pokemon. I love him. I love Staraptor. I grew so close to this thing on my team in Pokemon Pearl when I played it as a kid. And it's just so cool. It's a Pokemon, like, it's a bird Pokemon that grows, like, a cool, like, mohawk, essentially, and stands with its wings behind its back intimidatingly, and it learns, like, it has Intimidate as an ability, and it can learn Close Combat. It's a bird that learns fighting-type moves. Like, oh my god. One of the coolest Pokemon. I just love it. I hate that its beak has the brown on it. I dislike the... I think they should have put the red on its beak instead. Like, I love its hair, don't get me wrong. But I think if it had, like, red on its beak, like it was, like, bloody, that would be even more intimidating. But I love Staraptor, man. It's just so cool looking. And it's like, it was my flyer in Sinnoh. Like, come on. Very good Pokemon. Mewtwo. Mewtwo is entirely on... I thought, as a kid, when I first saw Mewtwo, was on the trading cards, and I thought he was the weirdest looking, ugliest Pokemon I'd ever seen. I didn't even think he looked like a Pokemon. But then, one of the first movies, maybe even the first movie I ever saw in theaters, it was either that or Tarzan, whichever came out first, was the first movie I ever saw in theaters, was the first Pokemon movie. Was it Pokemon the movie 2000? I don't know. The one with Mewtwo. And like, oh my god, that movie blew me away as a kid. That movie was why I liked going to the movies so much. Uh, and it was like so scary and sympathetic, and he could talk. Like he was a psychic type, and he could talk. And like it was such a sad movie. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so if I watched it now, I'd probably hate it. But I mean, it probably doesn't hold up. But like, I really loved that movie when I was little, and I like shot Mewtwo through the roof in terms of like how much I loved Mewtwo. And like the whole concept of like it being a failed clone and questioning its existence, like it was so like the themes were intense for kids. You know, it was very mature, like theme wise. And I've heard the Japanese version is like even more intense. Um, Duat is just one of the best designed Pokemon in the game in terms of like how much I love his design. I hate that he evolves into a quadruped and looks so dumb. I hate Samurot's design. I love Samurott because I used one as my starter and I thought it was a very useful Pokemon and it learns some really cool moves. But Duat, and like he gets the shell move where he like takes the shells off his clothes and like attacks with them. And it's so cool to like watch the animation, and all the animations in Gen 5 are so good. And he's just like a cool samurai otter. I like otters are one of the most adorable Pokemon or animals that exist in the real world. And to combine that with samurai, one of the coolest things that exist in the real world, to an otter samurai, like, dude, I saw this evolution. Like, I thought Oshawott was the cutest starter. That was why I picked it for my white playthrough. But then when it evolved, I was like, this is the best Pokemon design I've ever seen. This is the best Pokemon design I've ever seen, ever. And then it evolves into a quadruped and ruins the whole thing. I hate Samurot's design. But Duat, 10 out of 10 Pokemon. I love its like signature move with the shells. I forget what it's called, but very good move. Crobat is a friendship evolution, which automatically makes it not in the top 10. But other than that, Crobat is a very good Pokemon. I've always thought its mouth is a little derpy and kind of dumb, but I love every other aspect of this Pokemon. It's flying poison and incredibly fast, so it's a very good attacking type. Like, it's a great flyer to add to your team competitively. Because, especially now that fairy types exist, it's just a great Pokemon for filling out a team, like, offensively. And it has 4 wings, which is so cool. And it's a bat. Like, a purple bat. I always thought Zubat was kind of cute. It was annoying to me. Hey Jerry, how's it going, man? Obviously, Quagsire is my best. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. I love Quagsire. He's my favorite. I was on Crobat. Crobat is very cool. Oh, let me restart the music. He's just, I don't know, man. The fact that he evolves, because as a kid I liked Zubat. I thought Zubat was kind of funny and cute, but it was really annoying because of the caves system and how you would always run into them. But he evolves into Golbat, and I always thought Golbat was so stupid. The fact that it grows eyes really bothers me, because like the whole thing with the Zubat was that it doesn't have eyes, and I thought it was cool. And then it gets eyes, and I'm like, I hate this. But then they evolves again into Crobat, and I was like, okay, no, this is cool again. So I really like that they added that for Crobat. I do hate that Golbat can't fly. Why can't Golbat learn fly? Crobat can learn fly. Why can't Golbat learn fly? But yeah. Cool Pokemon, useful in battle. Automatically makes you good. Vigoroth. I love his smile. It's the white and red color scheme is amazing. And it evolves into Slacking, which is one of the best Pokemon in the game. I love Slacking. The fact that it's just a gorilla sloth Pokemon with a higher base stat total than some legendaries, but it just isn't that strong because it chooses not to fight because of how lazy it is. That is such an amazing concept for a Pokemon. And Vigoroth I love because look at his smile. It's just, I don't know, something about his smile makes me like it. And I learned Slash with Stab Boost, which, as we discussed with Ursaring, makes me love it. I don't know. The second I saw Vigoroth for the first time, I was like, it's a sloth Pokemon that's good in battle. And it's cool. I love this. Yeah, he's very fun. Hydreigon or Hydreigon, my favorite dual type in the entire game. The reason he's so low is because of how much of a pain in the ass he is to evolve. Because he's basically useless until he evolves into Zweilous. And even then, still not that good. And it's not until level 50 that he even becomes useful. And then again, he doesn't evolve until level 64. 64! Come on. And it's in Gen 5 where it's hard to even evolve or get experience in the first place because of how they changed the experience system. But I love how his other heads aren't even heads. They're like false arms. They're like his arms. He has arms, and he like flies with his fake arms. They're like essentially his wings because he's a dragon. But they're like to intimidate his enemies. Like same reason why I like Seviper and or not Seviper. I mean I like Seviper too, but the same reason I like Arbok because of the whole thing where like the false design to scare its enemies. But yeah, fun fact, Zangoose wasn't almost on here. It was in my top 120. Speaking of Seviper. But yeah, Hydreigon, Dark Dragon, my favorite dual type in the entire game. Very cool. I love that he's a special attacker. I think that's really interesting. And he can learn such amazing moves for coverage. He's a very good Pokemon. Not the best base stat total wise, like for pseudo legendaries, but still up there. And I like him. But his leveling brings him down a fair deal. Lumineon is probably the one on here. Oh, I did add Zangoose. I forgot. I knew he was in my top 120, but I wasn't sure if he made the list or not. But apparently he did. Lumineon is probably the one on here that would surprise people the most. Because everybody hates Lumineon, apparently, from what I've seen. I love Lumineon. Ever since I first saw it, I've always thought it was one of the prettiest Pokemon in the entire game. I really do think it's the most elegant-looking Pokemon. And its stats are garbage, but its whole, like, concept is that in battle, it's based around the attract mechanic of Pokemon, where it makes Pokemon immobilized by falling in love with it and admiring how beautiful it is. And I thought, that's cool. Because the attract mechanic doesn't really get seen that much, and when it does, it's always with those, like, cutesy Pokemon that are, like, stereotypical for, like, lasses and, like you know, pretty girls. Not that, like, I hate them. Fairy types are fine. This is not my cup of tea. Like, I think, like I said, I like Gardevoir alright. But, you know, and I like Jigglypuff because of the anime. But most of the time, when you see, like, the attract mechanic used, it's always, like, it's a cute Pokemon that's a fairy type. But then this one's just a fish. And it's like, but it's an aquarium fish, and it's really cool looking. And I love its eyes being red and half-lidded, because if you photoshopped a blunt into its mouth, it would not look out of place at all. It just always looks so high, and I think that's hilarious. And yeah, I just really like Lumineon. And it's so rare in the Pokédex of the, like, you never see people use it. Like, even the trainers, because it's so hard to get in Pokemon Pearl and Platinum. Because you can only fish it up once you have the Super Rod. But you only unlock the Super Rod after you've seen every Pokemon in the game. So, and there's only like 1 or 2 trainers in the entire game that use one. So it's hard to get, so it's rare. I think that's probably why a lot of people don't like it, because of how rare it is compared to like how useful it is, where it's not until like pretty much after you've beaten the game that you get one, and it's kind of useless in battle. But I really like the idea of it just like always being a fish, an aquarium fish that looks high. It looks very elegant while being high at the same time, and it immobilizes Pokemon by making them sort of admire how elegant it looks. I thought that was cool. Mammoth. I just like mammoths. Mamoswine. He's ground ice, which is a cool type. Ground's great for attacking, and so is ice for like against dragons. He's a mammoth. I like mammoths. He'd be higher if it wasn't so annoying to evolve him, because you need a move reminder to evolve him, unless you breed for one. So, and he has a ride Pokemon in Gen 6, which was fun. Love ride Pokemon. I like the blue sort of like almost mask-like design on his eyes. I think that's interesting and cool. His tusks are fun. I like the gender difference. It's just the female ones have like shorter tusks. I just like Mamoswine. It's just a hulking mammoth that can summon earthquakes and destroy you. Zangoose, I like mongooses. And also, he's very cool. He can learn Slash with Stab, as we've discussed with Vigoroth and Ursaring. If you get Slash and Stab boost, automatically brings you up in my book. His whole ability with like a poison, like he's like immune to poison or whatever. It's like something along those lines. I think is a really cool ability. The red and white design is so cool and like striking. I love that color scheme. His claws are awesome. I like Seviper, don't get me wrong, but like when I saw the difference between Zangoose and Seviper, I was like, why would anyone pick Seviper? Like, obviously you would want to go with Zangoose. He's so cool. And I love the stance they give him where he's just like kind of I don't know, aloof, but like glaring. Snorlax is my mother's favorite Pokemon, and if I didn't put him on here, she would kill me. And I really like Snorlax, don't get me wrong. I love it. He only wakes up to eat, and then he eats 800 pounds of food and goes back to sleep. He's always funny in the anime. Munchlax is cute, but always annoyed me on how to get it, because you can only get it by breeding or getting it off of honey trees, which is a nightmare because of how it's literally the rarest Pokemon in the entire game, in any of the games. There's Tree Munchlax. But I like Snorlax. He's very good physical wall. He's a normal type, which I like normal types. His shiny is one of my favorite shinies. His shiny is blue, which is my favorite shade of blue. I like Snorlax. Interesting move set. I like that you can encounter them in the overworld. That's always a plus for Pokemon when you get to see what they look like in the overworld. Breloom is just... oh my god. When I saw Shroomish, I was like... yeah, I need this on my team. And then it evolved, and I was like... what is this? It's so weird. I love it. And then, in the later generations, when it, and in the show, when you see its attacks, it, like, stretches its arms out, like Stretch Armstrong to attack, and it's like, you can do that? That's so cool. And it can learn Spore, one of the only 100% accurate sleep moves in the entire game. It's fighting grass, which is such a weird but cool type. Oh my god, Shroomish is so cool. It's a mushroom Pokemon. I love mushroom-based stuff. Like, mushrooms are so weird, dude. They're always interesting to learn about. And like a mushroom-based Pokemon, I mean, we already talked about it with Amoonguss. Where's Amoonguss? He's on here somewhere. You know, I love me some mushrooms. But like, Breloom is so cool. And he like has claws. And his ability Effect Spore is very good. I love Breloom, man. And the stretchy arms really sell it a lot. And Shroomish is so funny. Like, oh my god, when I saw Shroomish for the first time, I lost it. I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, I love Breloom. Oh boy, top 10. We're on to the top 10, baby, and the big ones, the biggies. Alright. Oh, my alarm's going off to tell me to get ready for D&D in an hour. Alright, we gotta finish this in an hour. Salamence. the blue and red color scheme for Salamence works so well with the white for his underbelly and claws. Because Mega's pretty stupid looking, but like he's a dragon type, and I love dragon types. And he was my flyer for most of the games I did playthroughs of. Like I had a level 100 Salamence that I had gotten from a game because I bought a used copy of a game, and it came with a level 100 Salamence in it. So I just transferred it over, and then once I beat the games, I started using him as my flyer since it would always obey my commands. And he's just, I don't know, he grew on me a lot when I was using him in my Soul Silver playthrough after I had like gotten 8 badges and started using him. Because he can learn the elemental fangs, which are really good for like playthrough teams. And he's really cool. And in the anime, he's like really intimidating and like cool because like the way that I forget her name, but there's like they introduce a character that flies around on a Salamence, and it's like that's pretty badass. Like what an introduction to like land on top of the back of a Salamence. And the Pokedex entries for Bagon and Shelgon are so hilarious, where it's just like it bashes its head against a cliff and jumps off of cliffs in hopes of one day being able to fly. And it's like that's why it's so hard and like got the design that it does, because it's like it's basically training itself for the day that it'll be able to fly, and then like throwing itself off of cliffs has like hardened it. It's hilarious. Skuntank. Skuntank being in my top 10 would probably surprise a lot of people. I love Skuntank. He's hilarious, first of all. He was on a couple of my monotype teams, or he was on my poison type team in Sword, and he was on my like normal competitive team in Sword, because he's a poison dark type, and dark is my favorite type in the game, and poison is really good attacking type. Dark is too, but dark's also my favorite. He uses his tail as a mohawk, man. Stunky is cute, and then he evolves into Skuntank, and he's just like styles his hair with his tail into a mohawk, and he can learn flamethrower. Imagine a skunk, and instead of spraying you, it looks you in the eyes and breathes fire. He's top 10. I mean, instantly top 10. And in Pokemon Generation 4, its cry whenever it goes out into battle is it does its normal cry, and then it just farts. And that's just part of its cry. It's just, its little sprite lifts up its leg, and then it farts. And I just thought that was funny as a kid. And I still think it's funny, honestly. But it can learn like Night Slash and stuff. Like 10 out of 10 Pokemon, man. Metagross is he's just cool. He's just cool. A Psychic Steel, amazing typing. He's got a giant X on his face. I don't know what it is about the giant X that makes it one of the coolest Pokemon and not just stupid. But it does it. It works. And the fact that he's like his evolutionary line is that he's just like combining the psychic powers of 4 Beldums or whatever is such an interesting design. Like I mentioned with Oshawott that I hate that he evolves into a quadruped, but with Metagross they do it in a cool way where it works. Because Beldum is already like floating in the air, he's not like standing still, and he's so intimidating that it just works. Like it's the pose that his sprite has, where he's got like the one foot forward and he's like glaring because of the X and his eyes are red. One of the coolest shinies with like the silver and yellow. He's amazing for competitive. The only thing I don't like about him is how hard it is to catch Beldums. Beldum has one of the lowest catch rates in the game. He's harder to catch a Beldum than some legendaries. Absol, the DeviantArt Pokemon, we discussed previously with where was it? We discussed previously with Yamato that if you're designed to be edgy, I'm probably gonna like you. Blue and white, amazing color scheme with the red eyes that just pierce. I love the Pokedex entry where because he's a dark type, my favorite type. The Pokedex entry is just like he shows up to foreshadow tragic events. Like, oh, one of the Pokemon you'd never want to be around you or see ever. But it's just so cool. And Mega Absol is just like they had to have just pulled that randomly from some kid's DeviantArt page, right? Like, Mega Absol is the first Pokemon I ever saw where I went like, oh, this is edgy and it doesn't work. Well, that's not true. I thought the same thing with Nuzleaf because of how bad Nuzleaf is. Or not Nuzleaf, but the thing he evolves into. But anyway, yeah, I love Absol. He's very cool. He's a very cool Pokemon. Dark type, my favorite type. Good in battle. Pretty fast. Good stats. I mean, not the best stats, but decent stats. What does Absol's shiny look like? I bet he has a cool shiny. I don't actually know. Absol shiny. That's pretty cool. Not my favorite, but that's pretty sick. Hold on, let me bring it up. Get a good picture of it. Oh, this is good enough. I mean, not my favorite shiny, but that's pretty good shiny. I obviously prefer the blue and white, as you can tell by the color schemes of most of my favorite Pokemon. I like the color blue, but yeah, red is good too. I think red and white works really well. Ditto was my favorite Pokemon when I was a kid, other than Charizard. I just it's entirely because of the anime. The when he transforms in the anime and he keeps his face. Oh my god. That is so and the merch they sell of like the different Pokemon but with Ditto faces. I need those plushies. I want to start collecting Pokemon plushies, but only the Ditto versions of the plushies. I think that would be fun. Because I love Ditto so much. And he's not that useful in battle, but with his imposter hidden ability, he can be pretty good in double battles. Because nobody ever suspects his Ditto. And it's hard to deal with sometimes if you're not prepared for it. I just really like Ditto. And the fact that he's so useful, like the most useful Pokemon in the entire game. Like, I don't think there's even an argument to be made about that. By far the most useful. Probably would be one of the most useful Pokemon to own in real life, too. Definitely top 10. Maybe even top 5. Because he can transform into objects, too. It's not just Pokemon, he can transform into anything. Horrifying in the Detective Pikachu anime when he transforms into people. Horrifying. Stuff of nightmares. Shedinja. The best gimmick Pokemon. I love Shedinja. Top 5 favorite Pokemon. One of the weirdest but coolest concepts for an evolution. Like the fact that it comes from a Nincada, which I already loved Nincada and Ninjask. I thought, excuse me, oh my, I wasn't ready for that. A Ninjask, like one of the fastest, most frail Pokemon in the game. I thought that was a cool design concept. I hate cicadas in real life, but the idea of a cicada Pokemon is very interesting. And the fact that, like, Ninjask is just this bug that can learn Swords Dance and Sweep, but as soon as he takes a hit, he dies. I just thought that was fun. But then, when he evolves from Nincada, it, like, if you have a spare Pokeball, its shell is a ghost of its former, like, life. Like, what an amazing idea of, like, how to represent bugs, like, molting and whatever, or, I guess, like, shedding their shells. Like, that's so cool. And his gimmick ability of, like, Wonder Guard and only having 1 HP, like, oh my god. That is so amazing. Like, yeah, he's not the best competitively, which makes me sad, because he if you have a move that deals super effective damage, which you're probably going to, then you're obviously perfectly capable of dealing with him. And he's useless if there's any weather condition active, unless he has the move Sunny Day. So he's like kind of has to have the move Sunny Day, which is like, but I don't know. And his eyes make him look like he's like tired, which I always loved. And his little halo, like cloud halo, like he's an angel, is so cool. I don't know, man. I think he's like cute and endearing and an amazing gimmick. Best gimmick Pokemon they ever added. I love Shedinja. Torkoal is on here entirely because of my friend Douglas helping me with my competitive teams when I was making my monotype teams. He gifted me his Torkoal and his Ninetales, which is also why Ninetales was on here. And I had no idea how good Torkoal was competitively with its hidden ability Drought. Oh my god. Drought Torkoal is so good, and it's such a good setup Pokemon because it can learn Rapid Spin, it can learn Stealth Rocks, it can learn Overheat, it can learn there's so many good moves it gets. Yawn, my favorite move to use in battles is Yawn, because it's like it's so annoying, but it's so balanced. Like, and people have to decide, well, am I going to stay in and fall asleep, or am I going to switch out? It's great for forcing out switches, but also putting Pokemon to sleep. And it get like with the EVs you can get and like leftovers or heavy metal boots. Great for switching in to get rid of entry hazards, because you could give it heavy metal boots. Switch in, use Rapid Spin to get rid of Stealth Rocks on your team. Or you could give it leftovers to stay out and set up a lot on the other Pokemon's team. It's just a great Pokemon. And the Overheat boosted by the sun, like automatically causing it to like destroy enemies. Great Pokemon. And it's just cool looking. Like the fact that it's got like the eyes closed, I think adds a lot to its design, because it sort of makes it look like a sort of badass mentor is what it reminds me of. And it's like breathing out smoke. I love turtles. I think turtles are really cool. I like most reptiles. But it's like emitting smoke. It's fire type. I don't know, man. Torkoal's just, it was very close to top 3. Very close. But yeah, Shelly the Torkoal for my fire team. Definitely up there. The reason it was in the top 5. Plus it's got a cool color scheme. Charizard. It was my first ever starter Pokemon. And I watched the anime as a kid with Charizard. You knew Charizard was going to be in the top 3 when I said I picked Charmander as a kid. And when you saw the picture, obviously. Like, come on. And in the anime, his personality, like, he has so much personality in the anime. It's great. And the fight with Magmar blew me away. Like, I thought it was the most epic thing I'd ever seen as a kid when I watched Charizard fight Magmar. And he does, like, seismic toss. And the animation in the anime for a seismic toss where he, like, literally takes him into space. Like, come on. Oh, my God. And it's just such an iconic design. Like, this is literally, like, what they teach in character design classes. Like, look at him. Look at him. And his introduction into the anime with Charmander was so sad and, like, endearing and heartwarming. Oh my god, like, immediately attached. And Charmander's cute. And Charmeleon is one of the best middle stage evolutions out of all of them, I think. Ivysaur is pretty good too, but Charmander is like, I mean, Charmeleon's definitely one of those awkward middle stage evolutions, but I think he pulls it off the best out of a lot of them. The only one that comes to mind is Monferno's okay, because he's better than Chimchar. But, yeah. Charizard, I mean, it's obvious why Charizard's up here. Doesn't really require much explanation. Alright, now we're getting to the big boys. Heracross. I love Heracross. Mega Heracross is, like, way overpowered, stat-wise. I love the gender difference of it changing its horn. I don't know what it is about Heracross, but something about its design, even as a kid, I was like, always weirdly, like, I just think Hercules beetles look really cool, and the way they like simplified it to look to stay, he looks friendly but also intimidating in the best possible way, and I love that. And the fact that he can like chop down a tree in a single blow with his horn is horrifying. And he's so good in a Johto playthrough. If you headbutt a tree and get a Heracross, then you have a fighting type for the whole game. Like, he's great in the anime. I loved him in the Johto region in the anime. I loved watching him. That really endeared me a lot. He's my favorite color. His claws are, like, he has cool little claws, but then his horn is the thing that, like, it immediately catches your attention. I don't know. I just really like Heracross. And the, like, bug fight, like, a fighting bug type. Weird. I love it. 10 out of 10. Number 2 slot. And then we get to my boy. My favorite. The best boy. The number 1. 10 out of 10. 100 out of 100. Always best Pokemon. Quagsire. I love Quagsire. He's ground water. One of the best dual types in the game. For, like, battling. He's based on like an axolotl, which are just adorable, like with Wooper's like an axolotl, and he's so cute. And I don't know, I just really love Quagsire. He's an amazing Pokemon. He's got the derpiest face ever, but I love him, and he's so cute when he smiles, and I just love him. And in the 3D games, whenever they have the dynamic camera like showing off the battle, and then it just randomly cuts to a zoomed-in shot of Quagsire standing there with the derpiest face you've ever seen in the middle of like an intense battle. Oh my god, it's so good. It makes me laugh every time. I love Quagsire. His shiny's pretty good. Man, he can learn so many amazing moves. He's a great wall Pokemon, which you wouldn't think looking at his stats that he'd be that good. But he really is, because he has access to recovery, he can hold leftovers, he can learn like mist and stuff to get rid of status. Stab Earthquake. Come on. He's the best Pokemon. He's just simply the best Pokemon out there. Best Pokemon there is. I grew very attached to him, using him and Sword on my competitive teams. But I'd always loved Quagsire. He's just, I love him. I just like Quagsire, man. Do I need more reason than I just like Quagsire? He's my favorite shade of blue. Like, his tail is cool. I like his tail stripe. I love Quagsire. He's just a little axolotl that grew up to love playing in the mud so much that he could cause earthquakes. And he's very good in battle, and I love him. And he's perfect in every way. And yeah, that's my top 100 favorite Pokemon and why I love them so much and why I've put them on this list. The order is kind of arbitrary once you get out of the top 10. Well, I should say the top 20, because the top 20 is pretty solid, I think, order-wise. I might switch Mewtwo to be a little higher. It's just such a good design. I don't know. I spent a long time reordering this list. And looking at it now, honestly, the only thing I might change is I might move, like, Weavile and the Milotic down a little bit. It's the only thing that I see standing out to me immediately that I didn't mention while I was recording, so... maybe Dragapult. Dragapult's fine. Although I do kind of like Garchomp. Do I like Garchomp better than Dragapult? I don't know. I mean, I could spend the rest of the day reordering this list, honestly. It's the top 20 that really matter. But yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you understand now a little more of why I like all these Pokemon as much as I do. Give a bit of better reasoning for why they're here. Why they've made the list in the order they have. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for coming by, everybody. Bye-bye.